Good, good afternoon, everyone. It's time to get started again. So I hope that you enjoyed the lunch and that you survived the lunch dip. Okay, so for the first speaker after lunch, we have Daniel, who is going to tell about uncovering browser storage. I'm really curious what it's about. Haven't seen it yet. Well, if you have questions, Daniel is okay with you interrupting him. If you do want to ask a question, ask me and I will present the microphone to you so that everybody can hear it. Okay, give him a warm welcome, Daniel.
Hello, hello. Okay. Is it good or too loud? Good. Okay. Not too loud. Okay. I have such a big echo. Okay. My name is Danielecki. I'm working as part of the internet banking rebuild for ABN, of course. I'm internal. Working for not internal speaker, but I'm working for Capgemini. So that would be the very short introduction. Let's slowly start with the topic. Later on, there will be the QR code also at the last slide. So if you want to connect, you can just drop me a message or Teams or LinkedIn, whatever. To start off, this is a mostly backend conference, and I know there are 2-3 front-end people. So the rest is backend, basically. Backend, Azure. Okay. Perfect. It's still, I'm very happy about the audience on this conference. Cool. So we start with two basics. Basically, what is browser storage? We also call it client storage. So sometimes we have server on the client is the browser. Can be also mobile app or desktop, but here it will be the browser. And basically, the talk will be about the storing and application data in the browser, like in a Firefox or Chrome, on Safari, etc. You can also store data there if you didn't know. Now you know. And two, you might be confused what is actually web storage, browser storage, web storage, maybe it's the same. If you go into like a proper definition, web storage, also known as a DOM storage. Anyone knows what is DOM? Perfect, perfect, very good. Active audience, this is what I was looking for. So basically, this is a local storage and session storage, but this talk is about browser storage. So on top of the local storage, session storage, we will also talk about indexed.db and cookies. So let's start about the browser storage. Yes. So very simple slide to just introduce where we are and what's the difference. On server, as most of you know better than me, we also have server-side databases. I don't know, MySQL, Microsoft, my MS SQL. I tend to use Firebase quite a lot for my project. I really like it, etc. On front end, we on the browser actually we have the local storage, session storage, indexed.db, cookies. The difference is that when you guys have like a one database, it can be shared across different users, and the user will have the same data. And most of them, you have kind of important data over there. For example, you want e-commerce products be in the database, so is displayed for all the users, or I don't know, flight tickets, prices, etc. When we are on the browser, each user can with the browser storage we have, each user can have a little bit different data. So it's actually temporary because it can be the case that, for example, someone is connected from one place, someone from another, and they can have the same session, be on the same page, but they, for example, local storage will be different. So it's a temporary data we cannot really rely too much. Some of the examples are caching, session ID, shopping cart items, for example. In the basket, you can have I don't know, 3 items user A has added. Of course, it will be different for user B, who can have 1 item or 0. So now we know more or less where we are, and we have the types of browser storage. One is local storage, another session storage, IndexedDB cookies, and we'll go in that order. So we start with local storage. There is a proper definition for that. Anyone familiar with MDN, Mozilla Development Network? Yeah, so I just took a couple of screenshots from MDN. It's, yeah, like for that, it's like Wikipedia for web-related technologies. But what I just want to remember, to simplify, is it allows you to save key value pairs in the browser. That's it. Just let's keep it simple, and this is what we'll see anytime soon. I have quite a few demos. Maybe it will a little bit help you to understand rather than being dry slides. When we are in the browser, anyone familiar with can I use? Okay, good. So basically, caniuse.com is a website. I will walk a bit so it's easier for me, where you can see which kind of API or technology or which kind of actually also syntax can be used across the browsers, and there are like many different browsers. Each version has browser has lots of versions, so it compresses all the data, and then we can see if we can use it. So for example, for local storage, that's the very when we want to implement something, that's the very first thing we should be aware if actually the code will write will be understood by the browser. So for local storage, we have 97.5, which is really good coverage, so we can easily use it in our app. Chrome DevTools, anyone familiar? You guys, I know. Others, okay. In the browser, to debug our application, we have development tools, for short DevTools. Each browser has its own tools. Chrome comes with a really good ecosystem with lots of extensions, so we tend to use quite often the Chrome DevTools. And this is what I will use it here. So in the Chrome DevTools, if we will open them, then there will be like a panel on the right, and we'll see application, and in the application there's a storage, and the first one, there's a local storage, which we'll talk about soon. And if you would like to save something, then you would see to which domain it belongs, what kind of data is there, and it is as simple as that. So I have first demo. I think I have several demos. Very quick one. Okay, that I will just need to learn how to navigate here. Maybe that was good. I need to exit from the, like here, escape, yeah. Okay, I was not prepared for that. Okay, but we didn't lose that much time. So we have our very first demo for, I want to open it in my personal laptop, so it opens in Safari by default. So we have, I will show you where is the local storage. We open the Chrome DevTools by clicking here, right click on Windows and then inspect, or just, yeah, the touch button, inspect. And here, can you see? Okay, cool. And then in the application, you have the storage, and here I can see the local storage is for this domain, and there is some data. So I can just clean it up, maybe refresh. And yeah, it's empty. So now, for example, I will try to write to this, and then we can see, okay, magic, we have some data in the browser. Wow. So that's the very first of local storage. And we can also retrieve the storage. I have done some logs for that. So if we retrieve it, we can see there is something here. The first one is why it's user object. Local storage needs a string, so it's a real worst scenario for local storage. You would often keep some object-ish data, so you just need to stringify it and then it will be readable for the local storage, as you can see in the next two lines. And then you are also retrieving this as a string, of course. And maybe you would think you would want to pass, but then it will pass to objects, so this is not what you want. I'm going back. PowerPoint. No, sorry. Maybe here. Too many extensions. What you can see, this is just some very, I will go only everywhere in all the demos, the code is exactly the same for the, two buttons, some data, and just, store it and get it from the store. So I will just go once. Here there are two buttons to write to the storage and retrieve it, some dummy data, and here we have an event listener. So for local storage, that's actually just this one line you need to do if you want to store some data. JSON stringify because it needs to be a string. And to retrieve it, you just get it like this. The next line is just to show that it retrieves object. The API is very basic. You can. I think there's occasion. You can get item, set item, remove item, clear. I'm not gonna go through all of them, but they are kind of self-explanatory. That's also relatively basic types of storage. Okay, and maybe this will be actually. Oh, yeah, we have a little delay. Let me see where we are now. Okay, demo. We have. Is it working? It's not. One moment. Maybe when we switch, it doesn't work. It's fine. So basically, that's this part of the code which we have. That's fine. Don't worry. And the only two parts of the code which are related to local storage is to set item and get item. It's as easy as that. When you set the item, here it's like a user. When you get the item, it also must be user. So it's kind of like a ID. Here we have seen some logs. So just I wanted to highlight that if you don't store it properly, it might be difficult for you to debug what's going on. So you need to be aware that local storage stores string. Session storage. Again, there is MDN documentation for that. Oh, working again. Perfect. Back. Oh, I think there is like a 30 seconds delay or something. No, don't bother. Session storage. For now, I want to remember this exactly the same definition as for local storage. It allows you to save key value pairs in the browser. That's it. And now I explain one can I use, so I will speed it up a bit. We check the caniuse.com. Coverage again is very high, so we can safely use it across all browsers. And where we can find this, we already know that how to find the DevTools. We have the panel on the right, and then we can just see it just below local storage. There's also session storage, and then we can see there is some kind of value over there. Again, I will try to show a very quick demo. Session storage. I think again it will open here. It's fine. We can open it right. You don't need to bother about these like warnings. I just have too many extensions in my Chrome. Okay, so you can see everything. We have local storage here, and then just below there's a session storage. We are opening for the domain, and here we can see it's almost empty. This is just something from one of the extensions. When I write here, I just save some very simple value. Your UID is a very common scenario for session storage. Why I will say it a little bit later. And basically that's it. It's also very, very simple. You would use it to store you would use it less often in local storage, for sure. And most you just keep some UID, ID, like for session ID, basically. And when we'll get it from storage, we just have some very simple string. We can. It's already a string, so actually I shouldn't put it on the demo, but never mind. And we are just getting the string. That's it. Very, very basic. What's happening here? Again, the same part. So I'm going to. Sorry. The same part here. Just some sample UID, and session storage sets here and gets here. Very intuitive and easy.
So basically what you're saying, we have two dictionaries with different lifespans inside the browser to use.
Yeah, you already know. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Huh?
First time hearing of it.
Really?
Did use what are the limitations? What is the size limitations? Obviously, I cannot upload 2 gigs of data into the browser.
5 megabytes.
5 megabytes.
Yeah, it's very short. And yeah.
And that's per host.
Per session storage, per local storage. So in
so each domain that you visit can have up to 5
yeah. In this one, yeah. And API is exactly the same here. By the way, I also have, there is one difference between them. I have in the next slide, okay? API is exactly the same as for local storage. You can get item, set item, remove, clear, and that's it. You can get key length, that's it. So very, very simple. Okay, and I think soon it will become a bit more exciting, I hope. We had the demo, we had the code, and just two parts of the code which are related to actually setting the item and getting the item. Yeah, this actually we can skip. I shouldn't include it here, so just not to we keep string. That's it. So if they can do the same, then what's the point to have two different APIs? Because both of them they allow to store key value pairs in a string format. Both of them they have a limit of 5 megabytes. There is one only difference. I will show very quickly in another demo. Front-end people already know what's the difference. I hope. But for the rest, I'm very happy to share you some extra knowledge. Yes, in both, yeah. So the user can delete, can edit. So at the very, very end of the presentation, I will just access like one of the, you know, NS, the train station, the train railway company. So you can basically, they just store in your local storage your preference. And when you come back to the page, they put your arrival on the departure station. And then I can just edit this by myself. So we cannot really rely on those. It's that easy to access. Sorry, why actually? Application. Yeah, someone who has very catchy eye already noticed what's the difference, maybe, but okay. Clear. I write it, and then I have in session storage basically the same key with the same value. I just copy pasted the code to the one code base, so it's easier to compare. And then user in the local storage the same. Yeah, in the console log we can just see very similar to the example, so actually the same, but so I'm not going to explain. But what's happening now? If I reload the application, I can see in local storage is there, session storage is there, like the UID UUID in session storage, user in local storage. And now I will open a new tab, and then I will open again. Yes, very good. And up, we can see local storage user is still there, and session storage is not. So the UUID is gone. So basically, that's the only one difference between those two. In session storage, only for this one tab. If you open new tab, new window, or close the browser, session storage is gone. And we have time, so I can easily show you. I can open another window. Of course, if I open incognito, it's like just empty. Application. Session storage is empty, and local storage is still there.
Does each browser have their own local storage? If you would open Safari, it would not be there, or?
No, exactly. Each browser has its own local storage. So now I close the browser entirely, and I will open it again. Yeah, sometimes it slows down. My Mac, actually, this Mac is a bit old, so don't worry. It can happen. Local storage is still there. Session storage is no longer there. Trying to address your question, I think I have done this demo in Opera, so I will just try on Firefox if it's. Inspect. I don't know actually. Storage. Oh, it's a bit different. IndexedDB local storage. It's empty. Yeah, this is some kind of from the live server. So as you could see, like it's per browser. Yeah, cool. Create Firefox, of course. Okay, we get back to presentation again, and let's see if this is also working. It will take time, so no problem. So the only one difference is, as said, how they store per session. Local storage will stay longer. Session storage, when you close the tab, it's gone. Oh, yes. Quick conclusion about this part of the presentation. Local storage will never clear unless the user will clear the data. User can also modify the data, but also browser can clear the data. Or you clear it with like when you clear the local storage. Browser can clear the data. Oh, I'm in the middle. Wait, one moment. Still in the middle. Okay. For example, when you're running out of space, browser automatically cleans up the local storage. So that's another point why you cannot rely on the data in browser, but also all the other browser storages. All the other data in browser storages. Yes, session storage data only active in the active tab. But if we are in the same tab and we reload this, it was still there. Both of them are synchronous, string format in a key value string in a key value format. The APIs are very, very easy to use. Size limit, there was a question, 5 megabytes. Yeah, user can, I think I said, but not only modify it, but also delete it. You can, for local storage, a real use case would be user preference for session storage, session ID. Okay, so now might be a bit more exciting for front-end part of the audience. It's IndexedDB, something which I actually never touched before the presentation. I only have heard about that. We are in the middle, so I hope everyone can learn from the next few slides. Again, there is a definition what you need to remember. What I want you to remember, that's the only one type of storage we have in the presentation, which actually is not just some storage, but it's actually in-browser database. That's the only one in-browser database we have, or at least I'm aware of. But coverage very high again, between 96 and a half, 98, so we can definitely use it. We want to try it. It's again in the same tab. By the way, we have been in Firefox. Firefox organized a little bit different. For example, I'll come at the very end, like the web SQL and trust tokens. Not all of them will be in other browsers. But I will come back to that later. But the four the talk is about local storage, session storage, IndexedDB, cookies there in all browsers. So you can find the IndexedDB there, just below session storage. Yes, it's here, and the format will be as such. We will create something called object store, which basically is NoSQL database, and then there will be in the, if you can see, the value over there. It's like in an object, so it looks like an object, and then you can just store your data over there. So someone who works with NoSQL, I think, is kind of natural. I'm not really expert in the databases, especially in the there is NoSQL and then no. Relational, yeah, relational. But like you have like a tables rows, then we just use some objects. That's it. IndexedDB demo. Yeah, so the demo. Let's me try. Yesterday evening I had a little. Oh, I can do like this finally. Yes, way easier. Oh my goodness. Oh, but I cannot. No, I need to exit here. I need to. Okay. One moment. Yesterday evening I had some problem because it didn't run, but I fixed this, so it should be working. Here I will stop a little bit more to explain the code. It's a bit more. It's something new we don't really work with, to be honest, too often. But that's very interesting one, actually. Okay, I'll open the same tab. Okay, with my storage, okay, it's from yesterday. I need to clear it. Delete database. Refresh. Okay. Up. Okay, my storage. Yeah, now it's empty. Cool. This is empty now. So I have quite some operations there. Then I will write to the storage. It worked, looks like, and I will try to retrieve. Yes, perfect. Here you can see that's the only one part of storage which is asynchronous. So you can see there are it's like a promises looking like syntax. At the end, we are getting the type of the object we are storing, and we can see it's object. If we will open this here, application, it's not here. Oh my goodness, maybe it's not working. But if I refresh, yeah, it's working. Oh wow! And then we can see that we are storing something in IndexedDB, and it's with ID. They call it key path, product 1, and then we are having some value which is just they call it object store, but it's just like an object. That's it. And before explaining next, let me show the code a bit. Here I will take a bit more time. It was also new. It's still new also to me, so be with me. The same buttons we are using to connect with the database, basically, like triggers to connect to database. When the browser opens, we are calling the IndexedDB open. Here is the name of the database. Here is a version. So you can have 1, 2, and more. I don't think so. You can put like this. Maybe you can. I don't think so. Never mind. Here, then we have like a 3 triggers. We have on success. We have on upgraded needed, on error. On success is self-explanatory. When there was success, and then we'll store this the database in our variable database. On upgrade needed. So what's interesting? Without this part of the code, basically it runs every time, regardless if the here the database is checking if there is a new version of database. So for example, if here we keep 1 all the time, it will not like trigger everything. For example, it will not trigger that one. But if the Ruby version change, then it will trigger that logic. However, for some reason, when I also don't know exactly, to be honest, I need to create the object store here. I don't know why, to be honest, I don't know. And even if I have the same version, it triggers here. But it will not create the object again. Oh. And while we are creating the object, we have something like a table, kind of table. They call it object store, and the key path is basically the ID. Later on, you need to refer to the key path if you want to retrieve the item. So, for example, I call it ID. One moment, let's get back. ID, it would be like more like a, like a column, and this is the object store you need to refer to. Sorry, that was my mistake. So this is kind of your ID to refer to the database if you want to connect with that later on. And this is what you can see it here. We are writing to this to the object store called product, and we are storing something there. The same when we are getting something. One more. Here we have been. We are adding something to the product store, but I wanted to tell one more thing. Yes. Oh. The type, you can have 2 types. You can have read write and read only. So yeah, from Unix, read write you can read and write, or read only you can only read. Yes, I think that's it. And I think, but let me check if that's yes. Oh, I wanted to. So I don't have like an extension to this to the IndexedDB, but if you would like to access it, then there are way more methods than for local storage and for the session storage. You can have those like some of you might be familiar with, like with Event listeners, and you have this one specific to the database, like create object store, which I'm using on the line 15. Yeah, yes, you can see on the line 15, and on the line 24, I'm just highlighting all the syntax. You can make database requests, etc. So this one is quite sophisticated one. In my work, I never use that one, to be honest. So it's kind of niche. Also, I don't feel super confident about this part, but it's always good to share what we are learning. And basically, long story short, most sophisticated, there is quite some stuff to discover. And there are some interesting findings. For example, I think I have it on another slide. The other slides when there will be conclusion. Regarding code. Yeah, in the session local storage, it was just like 2 lines. Get set item. Here is there's a bit more. I went through this. for some parts it was a bit hectic, sorry for that, but you can clearly see that there are way more methods, so there are also way more, you can do way more with that database, and it's basically, database is not storage. Hop. Okay, let me try here. Here we have seen some logs. I didn't really went through that much. Basically, I want to remember you that we are storing as an object store, just like an object. So just this line, and those things are related to promises. Some of you know. Yes. So as you have seen, that's definitely more sophisticated NoSQL object store format, but something new, which was not on the previous slides, you can store up to 80% of your disk space. So if you have like a 1 terabyte, at least in theory, you can store 800 GB in this database, which is a bit interesting. I didn't know at all. But maybe I didn't really look for like a real use case that would be interesting, maybe for the next time. So I'm really curious, actually, some real world example with IndexedDB, like if there is some company which is really using that, because again, it's a browser storage, and then the user can still modify, kind of. It's asynchronous, and the API is not as easy, at least at the first glance. I mean, for me, it's definitely not as easy as for session and local storage. And that might be one of the reasons why there are quite some third-party libraries. I think I should use a different one than libraries. Basically, wrappers to help you to interact with the database on, in a simpler way. 35, okay. Should be cookies. That's the last, let's say, long part. I think here, front and backend is familiar with cookies, so that helps. To keep it simple, just it is for very small piece of data, the smallest one from all those one we have. But cookies are a bit special. We'll know why, and some of you already know. I gave a bit intro. It's my familiar for both of us, but I will come back to that. Also, again, very good coverage, so we can use it without any problem. Cookies are just a bit below IndexedDB, basically the same location. In between, we have something web SQL. I skipped this for a reason. It's obsolete, so it will be removed anytime soon from Chrome. In some other browsers, it even doesn't exist there, but Chromium-based it does. Let's get back to cookies. So we can find them there. Can you see? Yeah. We will store some. It doesn't look like string, but it's actually a string. So again, some string values now, but this time not key value, but it must be a string. Even you can store key values, but you need to change it to string. And I think to be the last, let's say, serious demo I have. Later if there's time, I will show one more. Okay, we have 11 minutes. Don't worry, I am on time. The last one, cookies. This slows me down a bit. Cookies, yeah. There, I don't have anything, and I write here. I write here, and then I have some sample data. If I put here, we can see that there is some little value, and there is also some little value here. And in the below, you can see what's the value exactly. But there are also more. There's something more about cookies. There is the expiration part. So that's the only one. 30. I think this is different time zone. Yeah, I think it's pretty like Greenwich time, UTC. So with cookies, you can set them to expire, something which is not the case with all the others ones. So for example, by default, they will expire after we close the browser, but we can also set them to expire, or by the amount of seconds we want them to expire. So it will expire after, I don't know, 10 seconds, or we can just set a date. And, sorry. And I will show it for a moment. Just to walk you through the cookies, again, this part of code, it was already there. The document cookie, basically, it's this one. So, yeah, at the first glance, looks quite easy to access. You just document cookie and equals something. But for example, when we console log document cookie, we are getting all cookies. So it's not really intuitive at the beginning. And and the cookies are actually, if we want to console this, the cookies actually are separated by this semicolon, yeah, by semicolon. So, for example, if we want to get a single value, we need to hack a little bit. That's why there will be the other part of the code. If we want to get a simple value, for example, the second one here. So this part of the code is basically to get the other value than some let's say second value we are trying to get. You can then change it to, if you have more cookies, to second, third, fifth, whatever. Because when you get document.cookie, then you get all the cookies. And yeah, so here I have one more topic related to cookies. When I said about expiration, I'm tracking the time also. Here is max age, which is in seconds, which is basically 6 minutes, I hope. So if I refresh it, it's still there. But now the UUID, I will set it to 10. So I will clear this. So I will write 2 cookies. Let's see if it will work. So now we can see, yeah, just that there is time zone. So let's wait for 10 seconds, and I will refresh again, and it will be gone. I refresh, it's gone. So you can. That's something which is not in the other storages. And then if I get this one, and then I'm getting only the one object, and there is some error because the code was used to handle 2 cookies, not one, in a beautiful way. Okay. Okay, that's it from the serious demos, I believe. We went through the code. And then we have seen this part related to cookies. And the other part was a bit questionable what it is about, but when we looked here, and then we have noticed that there is a semicolon which separates the cookies, and then it's now it makes sense, I hope. Yeah, I should say it's here most probably. Now it makes sense, I hope. Next. Oh wow, too much text. Okay, let me try to wrap up. We can set to expire, so we can. We in server tend to interact with them quite often, which is quite different than the other ones. We can set them expire by max age or expires, or in cycles, or setting a date. API is not that intuitive as in local storage and session storage. We have seen this when trying to console log document.cookie, which shows all cookies. And what else I wrote? Yeah, I don't have time to demo this, but for all the others storages, you could. I have a live server, HTTP local server. For all the other storages, you could just open it with the file protocol, so you didn't need HTTP server, but for cookies you need HTTP server, otherwise it will not work. Regarding security, sometimes we have seen, we can read about especially the HTTP only or secure flags of cookies. So that's also you can hear about. It has some applications. They are synchronous. Size is only 4 GB, string key value format. Cookies does this part of storage, which is a bit controversial, and when there's a privacy concern, especially now, they are talking if trying to disallow some third-party advertising company with exchanging the cookies. It will be about the cookies which is being sent to the server, which the others theoretically you can, but it's mostly about the cookies that they are getting transferred here and there. But yeah, I'm very curious if basically you could shift some part of data from cookies to other storage and just send it. But yeah, if there is a privacy concern about web storage, it's about cookies now. Final 2 questions. WebSQL and trust tokens you could maybe see. WebSQL is already obsolete. It's only in Chromium-based browsers. And so you don't need to remember about that, to be gone very soon. Trust tokens, that's very interesting, but it's on early stage, and only again Chromium-based browsers. So let's see if it will crash the ground and will be used somewhere else. Summary, I have a table to summarize. Basically, local storage and session storage are the same, just the storage per session is different. You might use them for all of them to manage user preferences. IndexedDB a bit more stuff. Important, the user can clear and edit this, so no important data and data you rely on. Size is different from cookies, which are the smallest, to IndexedDB, which can be very, very large. Format, you can read the first 3 are string in a key value format, then object store for IndexedDB. Cookies IndexedDB might be difficult to use at the beginning, especially IndexedDB. All of them are synchronous, excluding IndexedDB. And the conclusion is like, yeah, IndexedDB and cookies might be a bit difficult at the beginning. Okay, we have 2 more minutes.
Maybe you want to have some time for questions.
Do you want to ask some questions? We have during. Yeah, sure.
Can you maybe think of an example where would you use IndexedDB, like real world scenario?
I didn't prepare for that topic 2 minutes. I know you can store complex data, but I really didn't look into what kind of data companies are storing. Sorry.
I'll help you out.
Sorry.
So IndexedDB can be used, for example, for offline use cases. So imagine your device or computer or something is offline for days. They can store loads and loads and loads of data, and then as soon as you get online, you can slowly start feeding that back to the server.
Yes, but some of the other you can also use offline. And for example, we didn't talk about cache, which is also technically cache storage, which you would use for offline. But yeah, offline is one of the use cases, that's true.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I had a question regarding cookies, because you can delete your cookies. Because it was stated in the table that cookies get deleted automatically when you close your browser. But some cookies remain on your system, right? So what kind of cookies are those then? Or is it that
cookies remain on the system?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I thought that that was happening, but is the data when the cookies are cleared sent to the server, and that's how they remember who you are?
So basically there are, I showed you that you can expire the cookie, okay? So
Yeah.
if you don't set the expiration, then the cookie is automatically gone. So if you don't set expire with some date or max age with, like we had on the demo, with some duration seconds, then it's gone when I will close the browser, but we don't have time to demo it anymore. So basically, if we don't set this to expire programmatically, then it will be gone.
So if you set the expiration time for a very long period,
You
then
can do
it
that.
can remain for 3 years on somebody's system, for instance.
I'm not sure what the max is, but I would need to check it. But it can stay for a very long time, for sure.
Okay.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Thanks.
Yeah. Just
Okay.
on time?
Yes, I guess we're done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we have 10 minutes before we have the next keynote in the auditorium. It's going to be Santosh. It's going to be interesting, I guess. Thank you very much for your presentation. And we have a small, well, not really small, but a speaker gift for you.
Oh wow, I need
all
to
the
cycle
time.
back. How can I do that?
That's your problem.
Cool.
Okay, so in 10 minutes in the auditorium.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.